Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins History, where small coins can lead to big surprises. If you've ever looked at a penny and thought, it's just 1 cent, what could it possibly be worth? Then prepare to have your mind blown. Because today, we're uncovering the secrets behind the 2009 Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that many people overlook, but one that could actually be worth a life-changing amount of money. That's right. This tiny copper coin, minted during a very special year in US history, could be hiding a hidden treasure. And by the end of this video you'll know exactly why the 2009 Lincoln penny isn't just any penny, it's a collector's dream. Let's go back to 2009 for a moment. Barack Obama had just been inaugurated as the 44th President of the United States. America was recovering from the economic crisis. The nation was looking forward, but also taking time to reflect on its history. And that year, something very unique happened in the world of coin collecting. To honor the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent itself, the U.S. Mint launched a special program to redesign the penny. Instead of the usual Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side, 4 different reverse designs were created for the 2009 Lincoln pennies, each one representing a different chapter in Abraham Lincoln's remarkable life. These 4 designs were: birth and early childhood in Kentucky. This coin features a log cabin, representing Lincoln's humble beginnings in 1809. Formative years in Indiana. This design shows a young Lincoln reading a book while taking a break from splitting logs, symbolizing his self. Education and early labor, professional life in Illinois. Here, Lincoln stands tall in front of the Illinois state capitol, reflecting his years as a lawyer and legislator. Presidency in Washington, D.C. The final design portrays the partially constructed U.S. Capitol dome during Lincoln's presidency, symbolizing the nation under construction during the Civil War. Each of these coins tells a powerful story. And together, they form a timeline of one of America's greatest leaders. But that's not the only thing that makes the 2009 Lincoln penny so special. The real treasure lies in the mint marks, the rarity, and the errors that can be found on specific versions of this coin. The 2009 Lincoln pennies were struck at multiple mints. Look closely under the date on the coin. You may see a tiny letter. P means the coin was minted in Philadelphia. D stands for the Denver Mint. S signifies San Francisco, and these coins were typically proof coins with a mirror-like finish. Now here's where collectors get really excited. While millions of these coins were made, certain combinations of mint mark, design, and especially condition can make these coins incredibly valuable. But what really sends value skyrocketing are minting errors, the kind of rare mistakes that happen during production and create coins unlike any other. For example, there are known double die errors, where the details on Lincoln's face or the inscriptions appear to be doubled. There are off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned. Some coins have missing layers or clipped planchets, making the shape of the coin incomplete. Others were even struck on the wrong metal or the wrong type of planchet entirely. One of the most famous and valuable errors connected to the 2009 Lincoln penny is the formative years double die reverse. In this variety, Lincoln's hands and the book he's holding show a distinct doubling under magnification. That small detail, something barely visible to the naked eye, can dramatically increase a coin's value. Now let's talk about coin grades. Not every 2009 penny is worth a fortune. In fact, most of them are still only worth a penny today, unless they are in uncirculated condition or have been professionally graded and certified. Coin grading services like PCGS or NGC evaluate coins based on their condition, assigning a score from 1 to 70. The higher the number, the better the condition, and the higher the value. A 2009 penny that is graded MS 67 or MS 68, mint state, with no scratches, no wear, and full original luster is something that collectors go crazy for. And when you combine that with a known mint error, especially on a rare design like the double die reverse or a proof error from the San Francisco Mint, you get a coin that's not just rare, it's potentially one of a kind. Imagine having one of these in your collection right now. Maybe it's hiding in your piggy bank. Maybe it's been sitting in a jar in the kitchen for years. Maybe you've handled it a dozen times without realizing it. That's the thing about coins like this. They blend in, until someone with a sharp eye spots something others missed, and now, you know what to look for. But let's answer the big question you've been waiting for. how much is one of these 2009 Lincoln pennies actually worth? Well, if you happen to have a 2009 Lincoln 1-cent coin in perfect uncirculated condition, possibly with a rare mint mark or one of those extremely rare minting errors, such as a double die, off-metal strike, or planchet flaw, then you're holding a coin that can reach an astonishing value of $60,000. Yes, you heard that right. $60,000 for a coin that was originally worth just 1 cent. That's the magic of coin collecting. That's the thrill of the hunt. That's why collectors around the world obsess over details, watch every auction, and never stop checking their change. So what are you waiting for? Grab your old coin rolls, go through your spare change, check those forgotten boxes in the attic. You never know when you might uncover a piece of history, and a piece of treasure, disguised as an ordinary penny. Today's episode is going to absolutely blow your mind. We're talking about one of the most iconic and widely circulated coins in American history, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1966. Now, before you dismiss it as just another common coin, listen closely, because hidden within some of these seemingly ordinary pennies lies a rare and incredibly valuable secret. And by the end of this video, you'll discover how a single 1966 Lincoln penny, yes, a coin you may have walked past 100 times, could be worth more than a brand new luxury car, or even a down payment on a house. That's right. Today, we're going to unravel the mystery behind the 1966 penny, explore its unique features, reveal the secrets of the minting process, and show you exactly what to look for. You won't believe how much this humble 1-cent coin can be worth, especially if you find a rare version. Let's dive into the story. The year was 1966. America was in the midst of a cultural revolution. The Vietnam War was escalating, civil rights movements were sweeping across the country, and the nation was looking ahead to the promise of space travel and scientific breakthroughs. But even in the middle of all that change, one thing remained consistent: the presence of Abraham Lincoln on the 1-cent coin. The Lincoln penny has been in continuous production since 1909, making it the longest-running coin design in U.S. history. The obverse side, featuring the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, was created by Victor D. Brenner to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. His design captured the strength and dignity of one of America's greatest presidents, and it still stands as a symbol of leadership and perseverance. Now, flip the coin over, and you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, the iconic building in Washington, D.C. dedicated to the very man whose image graces the front. This reverse design was first introduced in 1959, marking Lincoln's 150th birthday, and it replaced the earlier wheat ears design used from 1909 to 1958. But here's where it gets especially interesting. The 1966 Lincoln penny has several unique traits that set it apart from other years, and one of those details has everything to do with something missing. Unlike many other coins, there is no visible mint mark on the 1966 penny, and that was entirely intentional. In the mid-1960s, the U.S. Mint was undergoing serious production issues. There was a massive coin shortage, and officials feared that collectors were removing too many coins from circulation. To help keep coins moving and discourage hoarding, the Mint decided to temporarily eliminate mint marks on coins between 1965 and 1967. So no matter where your 1966 penny was minted, Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, it doesn't carry a mint mark. That's already one detail that makes this year stand out in the world of coin collectors, but there's more. While hundreds of millions of 1966 pennies were struck and released into everyday circulation, only a very small number have survived in exceptional condition. Most were used for decades, in pockets, cash registers, vending machines, meaning they got worn down, scratched, and dulled over time. That's what makes uncirculated, mint-state examples so valuable, and we're not just talking about condition here. Some of the rarest and most valuable 1966 Lincoln pennies have minting errors, and these are the coins that send collectors into a frenzy. Let's talk about some of these possible errors. Point 1: known error involves a double die, a mistake made when the coin's design is struck more than once but slightly off alignment. These doubled features can be seen in the text, "In God We Trust, Liberty," or even in Lincoln's eye and facial features. If you spot doubling under magnification, you could be holding something incredibly special. Another error includes off-center strikes, where the design is not properly centered on the coin, creating an obvious misalignment. There are also clipped planchets, where a small piece of the coin is literally missing due to a cutting error during production. Even more rare are the transitional planchet errors, where a coin is accidentally struck on a leftover metal blank from a previous year or different denomination. Imagine a penny from 1966 being struck on a dime-sized planchet. That's the kind of thing that makes headlines in the coin collecting world. And then there's the SMS penny, special mint set coins. These were issued in 1966 in lieu of traditional proof sets, and they were made with higher quality than regular circulation coins. A 1966 SMS penny in flawless condition, with sharp detail and rich original luster, can be extremely valuable to collectors today, especially if it contains any kind of strike anomaly or error. Let's not forget, even though 1966 pennies don't have mint marks, it's the combination of condition, strike quality, metal composition, and error type that truly determines a coin's value. If all these pieces come together in just the right way, you could be holding on to a coin that's worth thousands, or more. Now let's talk about grading. Coins are evaluated by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, and the higher the grade, the more a coin is worth. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with MS 60 and above, mint state, being considered uncirculated. The dream scenario? A 1966 penny that scores MS 67 or MS 68, with no wear, brilliant shine, and perfect details. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, if you are lucky enough to own a 1966 Lincoln penny in mint state condition, especially one with a known error or anomaly, or even a flawless SMS variety. That tiny copper coin could be worth a massive $63,000, yes, $63,000 for a coin that many people still toss in change trays without a second thought. It's mind-blowing, isn't it? That's the beauty of coin collecting. Sometimes, the most valuable things are hidden in plain sight. All it takes is a sharp eye, a little knowledge, and the curiosity to take a second look at what others miss. So go ahead, dig through your old coin jars, revisit your childhood collection, or check that small cup of change sitting on the shelf. The 1966 Lincoln penny is out there, and if you find the right one, you could be in for the surprise of a lifetime. Today, we're about to unlock the story of a small yet mighty coin, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from the year 1980. At first glance, this coin might seem like nothing more than an old copper penny you'd find buried in the bottom of a drawer or rattling around in a piggy bank. But don't let its size fool you. This tiny coin holds a fascinating story, and if you're lucky, it could also hold a life-changing secret. We're about to take you on a deep dive into the 1980 Lincoln penny, exploring its history, design, mint marks, valuable errors, and what exactly you should look for. Stay with us, because this journey might lead you to discover a small treasure hiding in plain sight, one that could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. Let's rewind the clock to 1980. America was stepping into a new decade. Inflation was rising, gas prices were soaring, and Ronald Reagan was on his way to winning the presidency. While the economy was going through changes, the United States Mint was hard at work producing coins for daily commerce. Among the most common and heavily circulated of them all? The Lincoln penny. But not all pennies are created equal, and 1980 was a year that delivered some surprises. First, let's talk about the design. The obverse side of the penny features the legendary profile of President Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, a man whose legacy of leadership during one of the most challenging times in American history earned him a place of honor on the country's smallest denomination. This iconic image, designed by Victor D. Brenner, has stood the test of time since its first appearance in 1909. It's more than just a portrait, it's a national symbol of resilience and integrity. On the reverse side, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial, a majestic symbol of unity, carved into the coin with fine lines and precise architecture. This version of the penny was introduced in 1959 to celebrate Lincoln's 150th birthday, and it replaced the original wheat ears design. Look closely, and you might even spot the tiniest detail, a tiny seated figure of Lincoln visible inside the memorial, something that gives the coin an almost hidden artistic dimension. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. 1980 was a year with multiple mint marks, which means these pennies were struck at more than one U.S. mint facility. If you look carefully on the obverse, just under the date, you'll find one of three possibilities: no mint mark, struck in Philadelphia. A small d, struck in Denver. A small s, struck in San Francisco, typically used for proof coins. Each of these mint marks can impact the value of your coin, especially when combined with specific errors or if the coin is in pristine, uncirculated condition. Let's talk rarity and value. Now, hundreds of millions of 1980 Lincoln pennies were made. So you're probably wondering, how can something so common ever be worth big money? Here's the secret: error coins. In the world of numismatics, error coins are like hidden treasures. They're created when something goes wrong during the minting process, resulting in a coin that's not quite like the others. And that's where the value skyrockets. So what kind of errors should you look for in a 1980 Lincoln penny? One of the most well-known and sought-after errors is the double die, where parts of the design appear double due to a misalignment in the minting process. If the words "Liberty," "In God We Trust," or the date, 1980, appear to have a shadow or duplication under magnification, that's a telltale sign of a double die error. Some of these have sold for thousands of dollars depending on how visible and dramatic the doubling is. Another valuable error is the off-center strike. If your coin's design is not properly aligned and appears partially missing or pushed to one side, you may have an off-center error, and the more dramatic the misalignment, the higher the value. There are also clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is missing due to a cutting error in the blank. And let's not forget about repunched mint marks, RPM. These occur when a mint mark is punched more than once and the impressions don't line up exactly. RPMs are especially valuable in coins from Denver or San Francisco, but even without errors, there's value in grade and condition. The best way to determine the value of a coin is by having it professionally graded. Grading companies like PCGS and NGC use a scale from 1 to 70, and a coin that scores MS 65 or higher, mint state, meaning uncirculated with almost no imperfections, can bring in serious money from collectors. And if you happen to have a proof coin from San Francisco, with a deep cameo contrast and mirror-like finish, you're looking at an even more valuable item. So what should you do? First, dig into your collection: old jars, boxes of coins, your childhood piggy bank. Examine any 1980 Lincoln pennies under magnification. Look for doubling, misalignments, missing pieces, or even unusual metal tones. Then check for a mint mark, and don't overlook any tiny details, because those imperfections might just be the key to something extraordinary. And now, the moment everyone's been waiting for. Today, we're uncovering the extraordinary story of a coin that millions of Americans once carried in their pockets without a second thought: the United States of America Lincoln 1-cent penny from the year 1967. Now you might be thinking, it's just a penny. But don't be too quick to judge this humble copper piece. Hidden within this everyday coin is a remarkable piece of history, fascinating production quirks, and in some rare cases, a value that could shock you. So grab a magnifying glass and sit tight, because the 1967 Lincoln penny may be more than just loose change. It could be a hidden treasure waiting to be found. Let's rewind the clock to the late 1960s. America was in the midst of social and political change. The Vietnam War was ongoing, civil rights movements were gaining momentum, and space exploration was about to make history. Amid all this, the U.S. Mint continued to produce coins for a growing and bustling economy. But 1967 was no ordinary year in the world of American coinage. Due to a nationwide coin shortage and the removal of silver from circulating dimes and quarters, the U.S. Mint made a bold move. They temporarily removed mint marks from all coins, including the penny. That's right. Every Lincoln penny minted in 1967, whether it came from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, was struck without a mint mark. This was done to discourage coin hoarding, as people had started collecting coins from different mints. The idea was to streamline production and get more coins into circulation. So if you've ever looked at a 1967 penny and wondered why there's no small letter under the date, that's why. It wasn't a mistake, but a deliberate decision by the U.S. Mint. However, that's not where the intrigue ends. Let's take a closer look at the design. On the obverse, front, side, we see the familiar and timeless profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. His portrait has graced the penny since 1909, celebrating the 100th anniversary of his birth. The words, "In God We Trust," arc above his head, liberty rests on the left, and the date, 1967, sits to the right. It's a simple yet powerful design, embodying American ideals. Flip the coin to the reverse, and you'll find the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. This image replaced the original, wheat ears, design in 1959. If you look closely at the memorial center under magnification, you can even see a tiny statue of Lincoln himself seated inside, a brilliant and often overlooked detail. But here's what truly makes some 1967 Lincoln pennies fascinating for collectors and potentially extremely valuable: the errors. Yes, even in a year with no mint marks, the 1967 penny has some jaw-dropping minting mistakes and rare die varieties that elevate it from common to collectible. So, what are the most prized errors and unique features found in the 1967 Lincoln penny? Let's start with double die errors. This happens when the coin is struck by a die that has been impressed more than once with slight misalignment. Look closely at the words, "Liberty, in God We Trust," or the date, 1967. If any of these show clear signs of doubling, like shadowed or overlapping letters, you might be looking at a valuable double die variety. These coins can be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars depending on the clarity of the error and the coin's condition. Another type of error is the off-center strike, where the design of the coin is misaligned, sometimes dramatically, so part of the image is cut off or shifted to one side. Coins with a 50% or more off-center strike and full visible dates can fetch premium prices in the collector market. Then there are clipped planchet errors, which occur when a blank piece of metal used to make the coin is improperly cut, resulting in a coin that's missing a portion of its edge. These are eye-catching and rare, and collectors love them. Also, look out for struck-through errors, where foreign materials like grease or metal shavings interfere with the striking process, leaving unusual and sometimes dramatic marks or blanks on the coin's surface. Now, aside from mint errors, the condition of your 1967 penny plays a major role in determining its value. The highest value comes from coins that are in mint state, MS, condition, meaning they've never been in circulation and show no signs of wear. Coins that are certified as MS 65, MS 66, or even MS 67 can command substantial prices at auctions, and if your 1967 Lincoln penny is a proof coin, typically struck with sharper detail and a mirror-like finish for collectors, then you're holding something extra special. While most 1967 pennies were intended for circulation, proof versions exist and are significantly rarer and more valuable. So how do you check if your penny could be worth more than face value? First, inspect it under good lighting and possibly under magnification. Look for doubling, misalignments, or strange markings. Second, examine the overall condition. Any wear, scratches, or discoloration will affect its value. If it looks crisp and shiny, you might have something special. And finally, if you suspect you have a high-grade or error coin, get it professionally graded. Having your coin certified by companies like PCGS or NGC gives it authenticity and often increases its market value. Now here comes the most exciting part of our journey together. If you're one of the incredibly lucky individuals to come across a 1967 Lincoln 1-cent penny with a dramatic error or in flawless mint state condition, your humble little copper coin could be worth an astonishing $58,000. That's right, 58,000 US dollars. For a coin that many would dismiss as spare change, this is a reminder that every penny really can count, especially when you know what to look for. Today, we're going to explore the remarkable and often underestimated United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from the year 1993, a coin you may have seen 1,000 times without realizing its hidden secrets, or its potential high value. That's right, what seems like just another penny in your pocket could, under the right circumstances, be a jackpot waiting to be discovered. So stay with us as we dive into the details, uncover some fascinating minting history, examine rare errors, and reveal how one of these copper-plated coins could be worth an unbelievable amount, but only if you know exactly what to look for. Let's begin our journey by stepping back in time to the early 1990s. The year 1993 was a dynamic one in American history. Bill Clinton had just been sworn in as president. The tech revolution was rapidly gaining pace, and across the nation, there was a growing fascination with collecting, from comic books and baseball cards to, yes, even coins. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint continued its long-standing tradition of producing billions of coins each year, and among them was the 1993 Lincoln penny. This particular penny belongs to what is known as the Memorial Cent series, which ran from 1959 to 2008. On the obverse side, you'll see the timeless profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. His image had already been on the penny for over 80 years by 1993, making it the longest-running coin portrait in U.S. history. Above Lincoln's head reads the powerful motto, "In God We Trust." On the left side of his profile, the word "Liberty" stands tall, and to the right, the date 1993, accompanied by a mint mark, which could be a small letter D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or no mark at all for Philadelphia. These mint marks tell us where the coin was produced and can have a direct impact on a coin's collectability and value. Now, on the reverse side of the 1993 penny, you'll find the striking Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. While it may seem simple at first glance, there's a delightful detail hidden within it, a tiny depiction of Lincoln himself sitting in the memorial. Yes, if you use a magnifying glass, you can actually see the statue nestled between the columns, a tribute to the same monument in Washington, D.C., and a favorite feature for detail-oriented collectors. At this point, you might be wondering, if billions of these pennies were made, how could a 1993 penny possibly be worth more than 1 cent? Well, here's where things get very interesting. Although the 1993 Lincoln penny was mass-produced, rare varieties and unique mint errors are what make certain coins incredibly valuable. Not all pennies are created equal, and sometimes a small mistake at the mint can create a coin that collectors will pay thousands for. Let's take a closer look at some of the most valuable errors and rare varieties you should watch for. First, we have the double die obverse, DDO. This error occurs when the coin die strikes the design twice in slightly different positions, creating a ghost-like doubling effect on the inscriptions. On a 1993 penny, look carefully at the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." If you notice distinct doubling in the letters, you might have a valuable error coin. Next, let's talk about off-center strikes. This happens when the blank coin isn't properly aligned during the strike, resulting in a portion of the design being cut off or shifted to one side. If your 1993 penny shows a significant off-center error, especially one where the date is still clearly visible, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on how dramatic the misalignment is. Another rare error involves clipped planchets, where a part of the coin's edge is missing due to an incomplete cut of the blank. These are very eye-catching and instantly recognizable, making them popular among error collectors. You should also be on the lookout for struck-through errors, where foreign material, like grease or debris, gets between the die and the blank coin during minting, resulting in unusual markings or missing details on the finished coin. And finally, there's the matter of high-grade condition. This is absolutely critical. Coins that have been heavily circulated are common and usually worth only face value. But a 1993 penny in uncirculated or mint state condition, especially those that have been professionally graded MS-65 or higher by companies like PCGS or NGC, can command serious premiums. Collectors prize coins that are free of nicks, scratches, or discoloration, essentially, coins that look like they were just minted yesterday. Now here's something you may not know: 1993 was also a transitional time for the penny's metal composition. By this point, pennies were no longer made primarily of copper, but instead were composed of 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper plating. But mistakes occasionally happened. A few rare examples have surfaced of 1993 pennies struck on older copper planchets by accident. These are known as wrong planchet errors and are extremely rare. If you find a 1993 penny that's noticeably heavier or has a different tone or color than usual, don't overlook it. That could be a valuable clue. So now, after understanding the history, the design, the errors, and the rarity, we come to the question that's burning in your mind: how much could one of these coins be worth? Well, in the rarest cases, if you have a 1993 Lincoln penny in flawless mint condition, or one with an exceptional and dramatic mint error, such as a bold double die or extreme off-center strike. Then brace yourself, because your coin could be worth as much as $78,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, 78,000 US dollars. For a single penny that might have been overlooked by millions. Incredible, isn't it? So don't underestimate the small coins jingling at the bottom of your drawer or hiding between your couch cushions. Take a close look, do your research, and you just might uncover something extraordinary. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the hidden value of the 1993 Lincoln penny, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more amazing coin stories, and turn on notifications so you never miss a rare discovery. We've got more treasure hunting content coming your way, and who knows, the next valuable coin might be one that's already in your pocket. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting.